Hallelujah. And I'm on. Welcome, everybody. Today, I want to zero in on the main thing, Martin Luther King. You know, it's very easy to imagine what it was like because it's so recent and it still exists. And I was watching on Channel 13 a couple of days ago. They were showing the time when my life was affected by Hitler. And I thought, prejudice is a constant. All of us, in some ways, carry a little prejudice. Maybe it's against a neighbor. Maybe it's against a child who's not friendly with our child. But out of it can grow a group which eventually says, you're not as good as I am. And I just would like you to know what Martin Luther King grew up in. He grew up in a world, now picture that you are this child, where they were segregated. That meant they could not sit on the same bus as white people. There was a line drawn between color. We're still doing it. But the government did it and is still doing it against sometimes others. You know, when I spoke about the book for Martin Frumkin last week, about when people made themselves be different because they didn't like the world they were living in. But instead, I do want to say something. There are so many machines nowadays which completely disobey us. And one of them is my cell phone. And I asked Kenny not to shut it off because afterwards, when he puts it on, it has a life of its own. It does crazy things. And I found that out with television. I found that out with programs on the radio and television. And with all of my friends, John Taracusa, who's doing the film about my work, spends more time repairing things. And I spend more time repairing things. And when I paint. But you see, there's a difference. I'm the boss. In this, I'm the boss. It's my brush, and if anything goes wrong with the brush, Blix and other places sell different brushes. But if you get stuck on the internet, there's nobody to save you. Unless the people who are running the space telescope could come down and do their technology on it. So, Martin Luther King was a child in a world where if you had a telephone, you probably couldn't afford to buy one. If you wanted a drink, a soda, a plate of soup, you couldn't just go into a place. It had to be one that allowed you. And you couldn't hide the color in your face. Even though everybody has the palms of their hands light-skinned. Whether you're white or black, this is what the hands are. This friend of mine See, the hands are white. When we came to Panama, and I'd never seen anybody with a different color except white, because in those days, Europe didn't have slavery, at least Austria didn't. And when we came to Panama and we saw black children, I remembered when I saw them swimming, the top of their hands were brown or black, and the inside was pink, which meant somehow nature gave them a protection when they were in a very hot climate. And that's the darkness of the skin, which happens to you if you lie down at the beach long enough. No matter, sooner or later, your skin would turn brown. And Martin Luther King, and I saved this of his. I was on vacation. We were on vacation. And I was in a Starbucks. And when I went out, I saw a sign there. And the sign said, "I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear." And I thought to myself, it means he wanted to hate because he had been hurt so much. And then he decided it's not worth it. It hurts too much to be someone who hates. You know, today I went to get my ears cleaned from wax because tomorrow I am going to a wonderful place that sold me my hearing aids. And I wanted to make sure my ears had no wax in them. And the office had white people and black people and brown people. And everyone made me feel so welcome. And I realized Martin Luther King didn't walk into an office where there were black people. Everybody was white. Maybe there are small steps, but they were done by individuals. Only individuals. A law comes and we get better. But if inside we carry superiority, it gets understood. You know, my husband used to say, if you're afraid of a dog, he'll bite you. And it's true, because somehow or other, the feelings come out. And we catch them. How often did you meet somebody and they look at you and they really don't know if they're going to like you or not, and you feel it? I think what we do with our words is nice, but what we feel is what the people around us feel uncomfortable with. For a while, I used to say to people, I'm Jewish. And Eric said, why do you first bring that into a conversation? And I said, because then they'll try to be kinder. Because maybe they'll know what I've gone through. And they'll be kind. I found out later that's not true. I don't know what they'll feel. They might be feeling revulsion because maybe they hated that word of Jew. Right now, there's a politician who won't use the word Jew. He says, I'm a little bit Jewish. But he's not Jewish. But he's hoping that Jewish people will pity him and feel that he's theirs. So begin like Martin Luther King. Don't carry a heavy burden. If you accept a dog because it's cute, that's wonderful, then you pat it. But if that dog gives one growl, I don't care how cute it is, your senses make you leave. I wanted to say that about Martin Luther King. Okay? And what I would love is if it's done in schools. Children today have been writing about him. If you begin to realize you want to be honored, then be brave. Being brave means be kind. Okay? Now let me enjoy this. I want to talk about this because what Eric said to me before he passed away was, Hedy, we've got to do a painting where we show that people are okay, that people help each other, that people are kind. Let's not leave a legacy of only what the newspapers and the television tells us we are. There is nobody in this painting, and I know everybody personally in here, who isn't kind to others. And if you come up with ideas, let me know them, because I'm going to end up, I have a folder, and everything Eric said, let everybody tell how they see themselves, not how people see them, but how they see themselves. And so it happens an awful lot of these people here are connected to the health industry. I found out that nurses and doctors and podiatrists, because I have foot problems, and people who fix eyes, I have problems there. At 93, there isn't a part of my body that doesn't need kindness. And most of all, I cannot allow myself to look in the mirror and not tell the mirror what I feel, because I'd love to be young again on my face, even if nothing works. But I would love to have beautiful skin again. But you know, on the other hand, it works. Now, let me begin a little bit with this, okay? Right over here, where should I begin? I love them all. Okay. I have a friend called Neela Jacobson. That's going to be her. This girl, the one who works for Blix, is wonderful. I mean, she is wonderful. When I order anything, I try to get only her. When she's not there, everybody else is nice. But I needed a space for her, and I asked her to send me a photograph of how she sees herself. And she sent me one with the ears from Disneyland. And one of the legs is like this, and the other one is this way. And I didn't know where to put that. So I ended up putting her on the truck. You will see her grow as the months go by. And then I put my friend Neela here, because Neela was my art student long, long ago. And she was going to do something, and I said to her, Neela, don't be afraid, do it. And she said, I'm not afraid of anything. I can be on a hill on skis, and I can ski down. Could you do that? And I said, no, I couldn't. So I couldn't just put her standing. So I put her like this. Okay, that's going to grow up to be her. This lady is a nurse. Her name is Sandra. And how do I explain? I am embarrassed about my non-skill when it comes to photography, anything that's with a machine, including computers, including telephones, including everything where you push something and then wait for something to happen. Because whereas with most people things happen, with me they don't. I get other things. And she's so kind and so wonderful that I said to her, Sandra, could you show me how to take a photo with my iPad? Now, I think about 50,000 people have already showed me that. And I say thank you. And then when I try to do it when they're not there, and my Jessie even wrote me beautiful programs in beautiful printing, push this, push that, put this. But when I push the third time, something else comes out. And I thought, she must have made so many people healthy again, because she's very kind. I'm going to ask her. And I said, Sandra, do me a favor. I'm going to put you into the painting, but I don't want a photograph, because you're wearing a mask right now. It's going to have to be without a mask. Teach me how. And you know what? She did not make me feel bad. She sat there while I kept on trying and wrote every word down. And when I was finished and I got her, I tried again and I couldn't. And she stayed with me with kindness and patience. So that's going to grow up to be her. Okay, here she is. And this is a young man whom I had back here. And then I decided, no, he's also a healthcare person. And he does such a wonderful job. I'm putting you in front. And this is going to be him. As the weeks or months go by, you're going to see him growing as well. Okay? And I spoke about last week of this wonderful group who is next to Eric. Let me do this. Let me ask, because I've gotten such wonderful, wonderful answers. About kindness. How do you fight the impulse to look down on somebody? And when did you do that? Kitty, do you want to see if there are any comments on that?
Sure, there's a bunch of comments, yeah. Were you asking them to write down their answer to that
I
question?
would love it. But people don't want to write as much as they want to just think.
But would you just reiterate once more what you would like them to write, the experience that you just said?
Yes, I would like to how you normally might not have known to respect somebody, but like them immediately. When did that happen? Or when did it happen that there was somebody you looked down on and then you didn't? Okay?
Beautiful.
Now for the comments, because I love comments.
Okay, we have a lot of I can hear yous. You sound great. Shirley Baker says, hi, Hedy. Julie Williams is watching and Janine is watching. Janine says, hi, Hedy. Marcia Goldstein-Graber is watching. Says, hi, my friend. Laura Silver's watching. She says, I love you. In this, I think this sentence wasn't finished or I can't get to it. Yeah. So, Laura, if you want to repeat that, it would be wonderful. Carol Hodkin is watching. R. Kent is watching from Sweden, and he says, hi, Hedy.
Hi.
Gail Shotland Wax Jackson is watching. Fran is watching. Marcia Barditzman is watching, and she says, Marcia and Michael are zooming in from Costco. We would not want to miss wonderful Hedy. And John Terracuso said, hi, Hedy. Hi, Ken. Hugs from California. Hugs right back. Tammy Smith said, I lacked vision to consider that so many people would fit in your painting. It's amazing. And Marcia Goldstein-Graber said, be kind to everyone. Everyone is fighting a battle. And Gail said, I don't ever look down on anyone. Oh, and Laura said she loves you saying, I'm the boss. That's what Hedy said, and I agree. And Shirley said, I try to see things from the other's point of view, which makes it easier not to judge.
Thank you, because that's true. The thing is, I don't know the other person's view. There could be a person who looks so well put together. Everything is just right. I could look at them and think, they know. But they might feel so wounded inside and worry if their hair is okay. Things like that. How do we learn other people's language? I'm trying, but maybe how we feel is what comes out. You know, if I pat a little dog and hug it and say you are so cute, it feels it. But if I would pat that little dog, well, my insides are thinking, I hope he doesn't bite, I hope he doesn't bite. He would know it. I would love your thoughts. And this painting, Kenny, could you? We had a problem. We had a flood in the house. Not the house, but toilet paper seems to have gotten watered up and plugged into one toilet, and somehow or other, and don't ask me, it's as unpredictable as the camera is. Suddenly, no toilet worked, but water went into the bathtub. And the bathtub is what Eric and I used to use for storage of paintings. So we took paintings out when we cleaned up. By the way, it cost a fortune. We had to get people with a rotor-rooter. Oops. At any rate, one of the ones that we took out of the bathtub had been a print we did of Penn Station. of the painting. And the frame was not damaged. Nothing was damaged. And I would just like to tell you a little bit about this painting. I want Kenny on the corner is Seymour Durst. This in the brown suit. Yeah, he's the only real person I used. There he is. Yes. I want to tell you about greatness. You see him? Go as close as you can. This is among the miracles in my life. Okay? If I told you about him already, please listen again, because I have new people all the time. So it's okay if occasionally you hear something the second time. But I read about a man who loved old buildings, and that he was in the construction world, the building, not construction of buildings, but also tearing them down and archaeology. And when I did some paintings for Goldman Sachs of their building going up on 85 Broad Street, which is no longer there. The building might be there, because I don't drive anymore, so I don't know, but I know that it was moved, or they moved. And he has a library of old books, and I wanted so badly someday to meet him. And when I was doing the Goldman Sachs painting, Nan Rothschild, a friend of mine, became the archaeologist, the head archaeologist. And I said, you know, Nan, you could call somebody like that. I couldn't, because you have a title. And if you could get into that library, you would love it. And she said, oh, I would love it. She says, tell me his name. And I said, Seymour Durst. And she said, Hedy, he's my uncle. When do you want to meet him? And not only did I meet him, but he came down immediately. And he assisted me with information on buildings for the rest of my time until he passed away. Kenny just lifted up a finger, which means good night, which means we're finished.
Almost finished, yes. With
Yes.
a few more comments, too.
I'd love it.
Shirley Baker said, I try to see things from the other's point of view, which makes it easier not to judge. Marilu said, I have to find the correct words to answer. We are all equal. No one is better than any other. And Jill Heinzman said, I'm learning to open my ears more than my mouth.
Thank you, all of you. I love you. I can't wait for next Monday. Kenny, thank you so much.